Welcome to The Explainer. Let's dive right into something absolutely fascinating: India in 2026. Right now, India is operating as a massive global powerhouse, but it's defined by these immense contrasts and dynamic push and pull factors. We are talking about a nation experiencing dizzying economic highs and just monumental infrastructure growth, while at the exact same time, it's navigating severe climate threats, deeply complex social shifts, and a rapidly changing geopolitical chessboard. It's literally the ultimate balancing act, and understanding it is absolutely crucial if we want to grasp the future of the global economy.
Okay, so to really understand this momentum, we've got to start with a massive news hook. On Friday, June 12th, 2026, the BSE Sensex, which is India's main stock market index, surged by 2.3% to close at a staggering 75,528 points. That was its biggest daily gains since early April of that year, adding almost 1,700 points in a single session.
But here is the really crazy part. The spark for this massive rally? It didn't actually come from within India's borders at all. It was driven entirely by global optimism. The markets were tracking a broader global surge fueled by a looming US-Iran peace deal. Comments coming out of Washington suggested a peace agreement could happen within days, which would potentially reopen the incredibly vital Strait of Hormuz. So suddenly, global geopolitical risk drops, oil prices retreat, and that just opened the floodgates for renewed foreign inflows directly into Indian equities.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the Sensex surge. Second, transforming the foundation. Third, the climate threat. Fourth, shifting social dynamics. And finally, India, the hinge state.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the Sensex surge, and why this is a truly broad-based rally. You know, the gains from this surge weren't just isolated to some random tech bubble. Consider the spread here. Bajaj Finance surged by nearly 5.6%. Larsen & Toubro, which is a massive player in infrastructure, jumped almost 5%. Aviation giant Indigo rose 4.6%, and private banking heavyweight HDFC Bank climbed 3.7%. So what does this tell us? It tells us that investors aren't just placing short-term bets. They are pouring serious capital into the very foundations of the country's physical and financial growth. They're buying into the long-term blueprint. Which brings us right to Section 2, transforming the foundation, an infrastructure boom on a staggering scale. We are talking about translating financial optimism into physical reality on the ground. In just 12 years, India has more than doubled its number of operational airports, going from 74 back in 2014 to 165 in 2026. This massive expansion is being supported by regional connectivity schemes that have allowed over 1.6 crew, that's 16 million, passengers to fly on routes that simply didn't even exist a decade ago. It is opening up entire secondary markets basically overnight. And the crucial takeaway here is that this infrastructure boom isn't just about a few big, isolated, shiny projects. It's about total ecosystem integration. I mean, India's rail network has reached near total electrification at 99.6%. Metro transit lines have exploded to over 1,155 kilometers, making it the third largest system in the world. And then you look at the digital side, over 100 crore, or 1 billion internet connections. Plus, the Unified Payments Interface, or UPI, processed an unbelievable 29.53 lakh crore rupees in a single month. They are effectively connecting macro-level national logistics directly to micro-level household welfare. It's a totally modernized ecosystem. So you might be wondering, how on earth do they manage execution on that kind of scale? Well, it's through highly coordinated digital tracking. There's a proactive governance platform called Pragati, and it has been systematically resolving cross-departmental blockages, evaluating delayed projects worth over 85 lakh crore rupees. To put that into perspective, that's roughly $1 trillion US. They're literally using tech to force bureaucratic efficiency and keep the concrete pouring. But it's not all smooth sailing. Moving to Section 3, the climate threat, a severe reality. Pushing directly against this dizzying economic and infrastructural high is a very severe physical vulnerability. The India Meteorological Department issued a stark warning for the 2026 monsoon season. They forecasted below average rainfall for the first time in 3 years, expecting only 90% of the long period average. Because of evolving El Niño conditions over the Pacific, there's an 84% probability of below normal or deficient rainfall. This severely threatens India's rain-fed agricultural belts, drinking water supplies, and even hydropower generation. Make no mistake, it is a genuine economic threat, not just a weather anomaly. And this isn't just data on a spreadsheet, right? It is a brutal human reality. Listen to this account from locals in the state of Telangana, where heat waves crossed 46 degrees Celsius, prompting official red alerts. Quote, "It is 46 degrees Celsius, we are unable to come out. It is very, very hot during daytime and hot air is coming." People are literally trapped indoors from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. due to unbearable hot winds. This immense heat stress is a glaring reminder of the fragile environment underpinning India's entire growth story.
Pivoting now to Section 4, Shifting Social Dynamics, a Changing Fabric.
Alongside those climate pressures, the internal social structures are undergoing rapid, unprecedented evolution. In a truly landmark move, the Supreme Court of India officially quantified a homemaker's work at a minimum of 30,000 rupees a month. They explicitly placed a financial value on domestic care, officially declaring homemakers nation builders. This is a massive legal shift in recognizing the invisible, domestic foundation of the country's development. And that ruling sits alongside a flurry of other really complex social headlines. We're seeing a rapid demographic shift with declining fertility rates, which is totally reshaping the future workforce. We're seeing changing patriarchal norms alongside these deep-rooted cultural debates over family structures. At the very same time, there's an expansion of state control over civil society organizations through regulations like the FCRA, which strictly monitors foreign funding. India's domestic framework is evolving every bit as fast as its skylines.
Finally, let's zoom out to Section 5, India, the hinge state, and the global chessboard.
Foreign policy experts over at the Hoover Institution describe India as the ultimate hinge state. So what does that mean? Well, with a massive $4 trillion economy and a sixth of the global population, India maintains strategic autonomy. This means it leverages its market and military power to engage closely with Western alliances while simultaneously dealing with revisionist powers like Russia and China. Its choices can and absolutely and decisively shift the global balance.
You can trace this geopolitical evolution really clearly. During the Cold War, India was a prominent leader of the non-aligned movement. Since the 2000s, it warmed up significantly to the US. But today, in 2026, it is proudly multi-aligned. Think about it. India buys defense equipment from France and Israel, maintains historical ties with Russia, negotiates free trade with the EU, and champions the Global South, all while actively pushing back against Chinese border incursions. It's just an absolute masterclass in keeping your options open.
Now, the absolute sharpest point of friction in this entire balancing act is the Indian Ocean. China has been expanding its maritime reach through a strategy experts call the String of Pearls, essentially building a network of commercial and military facilities encircling the region across Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Myanmar. In response, India has launched the Sagar Initiative, which stands for Security and Growth for All in the Region. India is rapidly modernizing its naval fleet, they're building deep-water ports in the Andaman Islands, and really stepping up as the primary security provider in its own backyard. So, why does all of this matter to you and me? Just think about these crucial choke points. The Indian Ocean carries half of the world's container shipments. The Strait of Malacca alone handles up to 30% of world-traded goods. The Strait of Hormuz moves 35% of global oil, and Bab al-Mandab moves 30% of global container traffic. Basically, whoever secures the Indian Ocean secures the major arteries of global commerce.
Ultimately, India is attempting an unprecedented national leap. They are building world-class infrastructure and navigating these incredible economic highs, all while fighting blistering heat waves, navigating profound social transformation, and managing massive geopolitical pressure. As India flexes its muscles as the world's ultimate hinge state, its internal balancing act isn't just a local story anymore. So I'll leave you with this. How will India's next move impact the future of your global supply chain? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next Explainer.